I have been in industry since 2008. I decided to launch Perfect Planner, which is a supply chain technology company. What I recognized as an area that was really underrepresented in the software space, but also I would say in the process improvement, I created over 50 solutions for their organization. This approach can be taken anywhere, but it is the best way to kind of marry together the process and the technology, or the work design and the digital transformation efforts.
All right, good afternoon, Thomas. Thank you again for joining us for this quick time frame that we can just introduce you to our audience. Thomas is one of our speakers that will be joining us at our GovCon Giants Federal Contracting and Technology Summit in November. And we just want to introduce him to our audience and have him share some tidbits of, what he's going to be talking about, and also the importance of his topic. So, Thomas, can you introduce yourself to our audience, and then we'll go from there about what you're going to be speaking on.
Absolutely. So my name is Thomas Beal, and I have been in industry since 2008. I started right out of college in an analyst level, and I've just worked my way up to a director level. And then I decided to launch Perfect Planner, which is a supply chain technology company, about 2 years ago. And so I'm very passionate about having efficient, resilient supply chains. And so that is why I'm excited about performing this workshop.
Okay, so wonderful. So thank you so much, Thomas. And I know, like Thomas was sharing, that he is on the road doing a lot of speaking engagements right now around these topics. So, Thomas, why don't you share what your topic is going to be regarding supply chain for the audience? Just give them a little hint about that, and then why it's so crucial that we have this conversation for our audience.
So my topic is on mastering the 3 V's of supply chain, enhancing velocity, visibility, and variability in material planning. And essentially what I noticed during my times in large companies like Honeywell and Whirlpool and leading digital transformation initiatives and efforts, what I recognized as an area that was really underrepresented in the software space, but also I would say in the process improvement, continuous improvement space, was that material planning and buying or replenishment function. And so, now aligned with the 3 V's of supply chain, velocity, visibility, variability, it's important that we recognize certain positions or functions that can create significant negative impact if they are not managed properly. And so this is one of those functions, which is kind of what I prefer to do. I like to really look at the challenges at the function level and saying, how do we resolve these? Because they reverberate through the entire organization. And so even though it's a bottom-up type of approach, what's critical about understanding the material planning replenishment role is I believe it is the one function that failed us the most during COVID. And when any other big impacts occur, how do we manage the inventory and orders and the individuals that are responsible for that success? And as we saw, it wasn't, very successful during the COVID time period. But ultimately, I think the challenges have always been there, which means, how do we improve this position? COVID may have magnified them exponentially, but ultimately, those issues and process gaps and a lack of effective technology for that function really created a very, terrible situation that created a significant impact to the bottom line.
So do you see that as something that is continuing post-COVID as well? Because I know, the buzzword of supply chain is constant now, right? Even more so past, COVID. And so is it something that is still happening? And if we're not prudent in taking care of it, next pandemic happens, then what?
I think that we are continuing to have problems, specifically in the planning space of supply chain. One thing that I really appreciate about the analytical roles
Mhm.
in supply chain is just how nuanced and complex they are. But over time, what we see is that our whole world has changed, our global supply chains have changed, but most of the processes and tools that we utilize within these planning functions, to include material planning, are 2 decades old.
Mm.
There needs to be a refresh. We need a new group of ideas to optimize this for today. And that is where, I'm going to be spending the bulk of my time in the discussion.
Okay, so great. Now we've got, like you said, age-old technology, right?
Mhm.
So is it that they need to look at, we just going in with brand new technology, or is it retrofitting technology, or like where do they go from here? Those companies that are needing that type of service or being aware of that.
So what I think companies need to do is recognize that, as I like to say, I think the path to resilience for supply chain is the intersection of work design and digital transformation.
Mm.
So a lot of times we have this technology regret. We've purchased a bunch of systems, they haven't worked out. I've been in big companies that have spent millions of dollars on systems that they ended up aborting a few years later because they just weren't really aligned with the functions and the processes of the company, specifically the people doing the work. So what I think needs to be done is a mixture. I think we need to attack processes comprehensively. And then we need to find technology that is going to support the processes that are
Mhm.
specifically tailored to our organization. And and that's really what I wanted to isolate one function that we could kind of use as a case study and take a look at that. And so with my company Perfect Planner, we have actually built a function specific solution that is very process driven. And I think that it creates a tremendous opportunity for ROI, as well as resolving most of the challenges and complexities of the material planning role. And why I think that that's important is the approach that we took that I will be sharing
Mhm.
during that workshop, it can be taken by anybody.
Okay.
Yes, I went and made a commercial solution, but at my time in Honeywell and
Mhm.
Whirlpool, I created over 50 solutions
Mm.
for their organization. And what's great is this approach can be taken anywhere, but it is the best way to kind of marry together the process and the technology, or the work design and the digital transformation efforts.
Okay, so you actually answered a question I was going to ask about, using it broadly across industries, right? It can
Mhm.
how much so that needs to be customized, and I'm sure there's so many nuances to every industry, but doing what you do and sharing what you'll be sharing, it can be customized and brought into anyone's sphere of in their environment, right?
Yes. I think that that's the piece that often gets missed.
Mm.
If you think about, here's a good example. You think about processes, and you have some procurement specialist or sourcing specialist or material planner, whatever that role
Mhm.
is, and you see a job description. It's very different from another company's job description. It might be different from another site in the same company's job description. I think that the analytical roles within supply chain specifically have not been standardized. We've not taken a process and said, hey, this works across all sites, all divisions of an organization. And so a lot of the work and the approach I'm going to be presenting is doing that work. We need to define the process. That's why work design is a pillar of the body of knowledge, with the IISC. And it's true. We need to, understand what the tasks are. We need those prioritized, standardize that work. But ultimately, you're focused on standardizing functions, not tasks. So what is that comprehensive standardization? And then what you do is, once you have that, you normalize it across the rest of the organization and even companies and industries. And so that is work that is kind of we've taken to the next level at Perfect Planner, but it is pivotal if you want, to be able to digitally transform analytical roles.
Okay, so let's say someone is on the fence on, do I really want to come? Do I really want to, we're good. We're good with what we have. We've been using it for 5, 10 years, right? We made it through COVID. What would you say to them, right? How does it affect our society? What would you share with them?
I would submit that you're probably not satisfied with your current processes and tools within specifically the material planning realm. But if you're on the fence, I think that what you will hear from this workshop is basically the path I took to standardize and normalize many functions as throughout the supply chain, as well as wrapping those in technology for really high levels of automation and error proofing. And I think that that's what is really valuable about this workshop is essentially I'm going to be giving my secret sauce.
Oh.
So that if people want to go, I feel best practice needs to be shared.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of success in multiple companies, won many awards, and was very blessed. But what I do feel is that needs to be shared because just about anybody, if they do the work, they're going to have good results. And so this intersection of work design and digital transformation is critical because I think what's going to happen is the areas that we wish we had better manage of, which I believe are just, the 3 V's of supply chain: velocity, visibility, and variability. We're going to have that. And we're going to be able to do things faster, see more, and know more. And so I want to, share that with the audience. And I think it would be a great opportunity for learning and engagement and interacting. So that, I will also be on site. If anybody has any questions, they want to know how they can get started.
Mm-hmm.
If they even have specific use cases that they would like to have a discussion on, I am there to help, and it'll be, my privilege to support them in any of those aspects.
Well, we are definitely looking forward to that. I know with like Dr. Amaba's his topic and Dr. Forte on securing the software supply chain, and you diving into actually the processes and how to be more effective and efficient in that. We are definitely looking forward to how we can help our audience, our companies that's attending, to be ready for anything that comes our way, right? And make sure that we're not missing gaps, we're securing what we've been working hard to build, and that if something was to happen in the world that we live in, that we won't be at a standstill anymore.
Well, I also think, like, specifically with material planning, the truth is, Randy, that we are in a world that's still in disarray.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now we are within our logistics budgeting, we are budgeting for expedites, we're budgeting for obsolescence. How are we going to accrue that? That is the material planning and replenishment function. Its primary goal is to stop shortages, they're going to impact the business, and also maintain a lean inventory, no obsolescence or surplus.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a lot more complex than just saying, oh, those are the 2 objectives, go do it. And so this is a great example with material planning, how you can take a unique approach to it, that intersection that I was talking about, and really, take it to the next level, and we can show that firsthand. But also what's really great is that same approach can be taken to just about any function. And so that's what's great. They're not just going to learn about material planning and what they can do to resolve a lot of the challenges that we're still experiencing. We need to reinvent this, but at the same time, they're going to learn about an approach and the way that I have approached digital transformation to good success that they can do for any function. So it's going to be very beneficial in a couple ways.
Well, we appreciate it. We're excited to have you, and we are definitely
Thank
looking
you.
forward to introducing you officially to our audience. So thank you for coming on today and introducing yourself as well.
Well, thank you for having me, Randy.
Absolutely.